Have to get my side-by-side view. All right, so we are recording now. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Tasha Jackson, your host of Naturally Inspired. Thank you for joining us again. We have Greg Silvers here, Vice President of GlanHeath. And today we're going to be talking about the continuation of the discussion that we had before. Before we were talking about more residential things, but now we're going to be talking about the industry. So we're excited to continue that discussion again of eco-friendly sanitation and alcohol-free sanitation, just to continue that point of it being something that is in the news that's not catching a lot of attention, but needs to have attention brought to it because there are people that are being harmed by alcohol contamination in their sanitizing products. And so some of the news headlines that we've had, and they are available on sanitizingsafety.com. So some of the news headlines are scents, flavors, have them having alcohol containing hand sanitizers are contained in like food packaging so that they're very attractive. CBS had mentioned that there's more alcohol contamination that's causing injury because there are certain types of alcohol that are leaching into or getting into, or people are purposefully putting different types of alcohol into the sanitizers. NBC has another article where the FDA cannot recall but only warn people of these products. And so again, we're having these PSAs to do our due diligence to also bring awareness that this is an issue. So again, you can go on to sanitizingsafety.com and you can see all of these news headlines plus other research that's out there. So unlike toxic methods such as bleach, chlorine, and alcohol that are harming people around the world, quats, as we spoke with Greg last time, are compounds that are proven by new medical research to address the human coronavirus and not harm people in the process. So a growing public safety health trend that we have spoken about since November during Child Safety Month is that people are either intentionally or unintentionally ingesting the alcohol based alcohol-based hand sanitizers, if I can get it out, geez. And it's prevalent everywhere, right? So there's wall-mounted dispensers. Some drink it directly from the bottle. So again, it's really important that people take this information seriously. Share these videos with your loved ones, colleagues, talk about it in your community. You know, let's raise awareness so that people understand what's going on out there. The only way that people know about it is if we spread the news and bring awareness. So again, I have Greg Silvers joining us, Vice President of Product Development at GlanHeath, a world leader in alcohol-free, quat-based safe sanitizing for skin, body, and industrial spaces. And we'll be talking about the industrial spaces today. So good morning, Greg. Thank you so much for joining us. It's nice to have you here again.
Hey, thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate it. It's good to see you again.
So we're going to talk today about the industry side. And for those that missed the first broadcast, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the sanitizing industry?
So long story short, I got into the sanitizing industry because of hospital-borne infections, because unfortunately my father ended up in the hospital and one of those nasty viruses took his life. And the last visual I saw my dad was 20 different antibiotics being pumped into him because they couldn't kill it. So I made it kind of my mission to find not the cure, but the remedy to stop these horrible things from happening. And we can do it. We've got the technology. We just have to be more vigilant in how we clean and not use those poisons because they really don't work in a long period of time. It's just a one-shot wonder. And that's why we came up with the GlanHeath products, because they're not just a one-hit wonder. They last. They last for 28 days. So with that being said, here I am.
So it's been a personal mission for you, as we spoke before. I mean, I think that's something important to point out, is that people have an experience, and then that experience prompts them to do something, right? And
Absolutely.
the something, you want it to be meaningful, you want it to have an impact. And this especially is so very timely, because there are just so many people out there that are unaware of how many times they're putting alcohol into their body, with, one pump or two pumps, or, I used to be that mom that I was like, spray your whole body, and in that sense, whenever you're not using in moderation, or whenever you're using the smallest amount that you need to use, it can turn into something that is potentially dangerous that people are not aware of. And so I'm sorry that you've had that experience, but I'm very joyous that this is the result, that you can give a product, especially I use your products, especially that there's a product out there that, especially my kids, they love, that it doesn't burn their hands, that it doesn't dry their hands out. And so you've been able to bring this product to people that then can know that there's that safety component on multiple levels.
Correct. It's very challenging to educate everybody, but this is kind of our mission statement. We want to educate, and educate because the children, the pregnant women, the elderly, the people that are going through chemotherapy, dialysis. We want to make sure those people understand that by using an alcohol product, it could be very detrimental to their health, because the alcohol does go transdermal and it does affect their immune system. So with that being said, GlanHeath is just trying to get out information to educate whoever will listen. So with your help, we get, at least we get to get in front of your audience and educate them, because they really care about everything being natural, and that's what GlanHeath's all about. We're a natural product that's not going to hurt the environment or the human.
And within industries, we see increasingly, at least there's a difference. So I've spoken before about, going to the grocery store, and they now have these sprayers, and they spray all of the carts. And many times whenever they spray them, it doesn't have enough time to dry before you then grab the cart,
Oh yeah.
and get that on your skin. And so the EPA's list of recommended products shows that quat-based sanitizers are the majority of recommended products that are powerful to restore business and industries, and to also keep the public safe. Because if anyone is like me, I have 5 different stores that I shop at. So if each of those stores is doing that, can you imagine just only touching that part, right? Just the handle of the carts. Not to mention, it's recommended that anytime that you have contact with other surfaces, then you would also use sanitizers. Some people are really overzealous about how often they're sanitizing. And so in addition to the grocery store, we also have airplanes we'll talk about today, rental cars like Uber and Lyft, those kinds of things. And so whenever we're talking about the community at large, what industries are, I guess, which industries does GlanHeath aid in that restoration, or which ones do you guys target to help?
So we're kind of a multitude of industries. In anywhere where you have high traffic, clientele, customers, hotels, restaurants, nursing homes, hospitals, anything that has to do with high traffic, consumer traffic, business traffic. So look, any industry, and this is the beauty about these types of products, is there's no industry that they don't work in, because everybody's got to sanitize, everybody's got to clean their floors or use hand sanitizer or wash their hands or all that good stuff. So we don't have a limitation. There is no limitation. The products work everywhere. They're safe to use. So when you say what industries, I say what industry can I not be in is kind of the magic number. But we focus on high trafficked areas. Typically supermarkets are the big box stores where they've got the backpacks on and they're spraying, knows what they're spraying, typically bleach and like I said last time, your hands are sponges. So if that's wet and that's got some sort of bad stuff in it, where do you think it's going? It's going right in the bloodstream. And this is the problem. This is why people get so toxic and get sick, and they become acidic inside because of what they're ingesting and what they're grabbing. It's very, very effective on the human body in way of harming it. So that's why.
We spoke before about the electrostatic sprayers.
Yes.
So as you were saying, there is no industry that you're not in or you're not able to be in. And so let's briefly go back to the conversation of the electrostatic sprayers and how they work, because I think that will also give justice to the fact that because of this technology, because of this very specific way with which the product is applied, that's the reason why it works everywhere and why it's safe to be used everywhere.
Correct. And I'll kind of just go as some technology on electrostatic. So to make it real simple, it's got what we call a wraparound technology. So what it does is as the liquid comes out the head of the device, whatever kind of device you're using, a backpack sprayer or a handheld, it gives it a positive charge. So that positive charge wants to stick to surfaces. And the cool thing about it's not going to overlap. It's going to spread out, kind of like you have two magnets on one side of the magnet. It's going to stick together. You flip one over and it kind of won't stick. It'll push it away. Same thing with electrostatic. It spreads and it wraps. So it is the best way to disinfect when you have the right product. And this is where people don't understand, because we go into restaurants and you see somebody spraying with the same dirty rag. All they're doing is cross-contaminating, because that product has to stay wet for up to 15 minutes to kill. So what they're doing is they're spraying and they're doing this, and then they're going to the next table and they're doing the same thing. I'm sorry, you can't see me. They're literally just cross-contaminating. So with the electrostatic, they're not cleaning underneath the table. They're not cleaning the legs of the table or the legs of the chair or the back of the chair. With the electrostatic, it goes everywhere. So it was originally used in agriculture because the bugs would stay on the back side of the leaf. And when they come and spray their pesticides with a regular sprayer, well, wouldn't get the bugs because the bugs are on the back. So they came up with this technology that it wraps around it. So basically we say the bugs can't hide because we consider these viruses bugs. They're super bugs as far as I'm concerned. And there's no place to hide with electrostatic. So.
Yeah, because it cleans. It clings to everything.
Yep.
And then, so for our Airbnb people, so let's say you have someone who wants to hire your services or bring you guys into their home
Sure.
because they have an Airbnb situation. So how long would it take to sanitize an entire house?
So let's just give her an average of 2,500 square foot house, 2 stories, 4 bedrooms, would take about 15 minutes. And
So it's,
and it dries in 4 minutes. So
and
as you're
then,
going, yeah, go ahead.
and then the effect of that lasts.
Up to 28 days. And when we say 28 days, so high trafficked areas such as handrails or light switches or doorknobs, you're going to have to reapply. And that's why we have wipes, and we have the same product in a 32-ounce bottle, because it's not a permanent surface. It can be rubbed off, but it's always great to be secure and minimize your exposure to what's going on. So that's where all the products kind of come into play, because if you're using our hand sanitizer, which is an invisible glove on your person, and the body spray, then you've just knocked out one avenue. And now that you're doing your home or your office or your business, you've actually coated the surfaces with a similar product that is going to minimize your exposure. It's just it's kind of like when you spray the poisons, the bleaches and the chlorines and the formaldehydes. Can you believe they used formaldehyde in spraying?
I do kind of. I can. If you told me that they did, I would believe it.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, but think about it. You know, when they put the UVC lights in the hospital rooms, and they shut the door, turn the light on, shut the door, walk out. 20 minutes later, they come in and they pull the thing out. But the minute they open that door, these things are microscopic. They float on dust.
Right.
They come right back in, and you've done nothing. You've
Yeah.
killed what was in there at the time, but now there's more. So we came up with the process because we wanted to keep killing it. Same thing with dealing with my dad. You know, they cleaned the room every day. They sprayed and wiped, but they didn't kill anything
Yeah.
because they didn't let it sit long enough. So with this product, it kills and it keeps killing for up to 28 days. And areas where people aren't cleaning. You know, they're not cleaning underneath the table. They're not cleaning underneath the sink. So this does it. This does it all. This protects. It's the most effective way to protect yourself, your customers, your employees, from what's alien. You know, nothing's 100%, but this is your best defense.
And we also have to think about, how are we using surfaces? So for example, in a restaurant, like you just said that it, with an electrostatic sprayer, it sticks to the bottom of the table, right? So you would think that, oh, why would you need to have the bottom of the table sanitized? Well, whenever you are getting into a booth, a lot of times, or a lot of people will grab onto the table to kind of, inch themselves over, or you grab onto the bottom of the table whenever you're pulling yourself closer to the table, whenever you're sitting down. So
Correct.
some of these things, they might seem very foreign or very strange, but again, if you really sit and think mindfully about how you are utilizing these items in that space, then of course you want the bottom of the table to be sanitized, because you touch the bottom of the table. Even though it's just maybe the edge of the bottom of the table, you still are touching the bottom
Yep.
of the table. And then if you're kind of like me, sometimes whenever I'm sitting at not at a restaurant, but whenever I'm sitting at other tables, I'll sit with my arms underneath and on top of my lap under the table and kind of lean forward, right? Depending on what the setting is. And so sometimes you might brush up under on underneath of the table.
Gets on
So
your clothes, can get on your
yes,
clothes. You rub your thighs. Uh, it's everywhere. And same thing with your salt shaker, or you go into a place and grab the syrup or the ketchup or whatever bottle you've got there. You'd be amazed at how much bacteria is on these, germs are on these bottles, because they're not clean.
yeah,
They're
I'm
not,
kind
they're
of a
not.
germaphobe, so yeah, I know.
Yeah, and I don't mean to freak anybody out, but it's reality. You know,
Yes.
our world is just full of germs, and it's just important to be vigilant in your surroundings when you're dealing with. Because look, my mom always told me, get your elbows off the table.
Hmm.
Well, somebody with a short sleeve shirt sitting on the table, then he's touching the top of the table, then he rubs his eye, he touches his face. It's the quickest way to get sick. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everybody that touches their face or rubs their eyes is going to get COVID. Well, that's just not true. But all the viruses that are out there, that's how people get colds and flus and just fighting the common cold and the flu. It can be minimized.
Right.
And I don't know about you, but I don't like being sick. That's just a bummer. So it's just being visual and using the right products to secure your daily life. That's what it's all about.
So how long would it take then to sanitize a restaurant?
So obviously there's restaurants of all different sizes, but typically if we go into like an average size McDonald's, for instance, where there's a lot of kids, there's a lot of runny noses and kids putting stuff in their mouths that they shouldn't be putting in their mouths. Um, it would probably take about 15-20 minutes. We do a lot of Dairy Queens, and we're like in there for literally 10 to 15 minutes tops. And that's getting everything. That's coating everything, including the kitchens, the bathrooms, the tables, the handles, the trash area, the just everything. Everything we get under 15 minutes.
And I would like to point out also that um, this product doesn't have a scent at all, because the very first time that we tried to dine into a restaurant, okay, we were sitting out on the patio, and I just remember walking through, and even though I had my mask on, walking through the restaurant, the smell of their sanitizing products was so strong. And then we get outside to the patio and we're sitting there and they bring you the menu, which they, soak.
Right.
It seemed as if they just dunk them maybe instead of wiping. The smell was so strong and it was so I could barely eat because it was so pungent and overwhelming. And, after that, I said, well, if this is what my dining experience is going to be like, then I'll just continue to do takeout and either eat in my car or we'll go to the park and eat or whatever, because just the smell of that was just overwhelming.
Yeah, I've had similar cases, but I get affected in a different way. I get an instant headache, my throat starts to swell up, and I need to get out into fresh air because they're poisons. They're
Yeah.
affecting you differently. It's not going to affect everybody the same way, but for me, I cannot handle those smells. Like, before I did any of this, we used to use that lemon fresh stuff in your homes to disinfect your floors and all that.
Yeah.
It smelled nice, but I'll bet you in my bottom dollar that you didn't clean anything,
Yeah.
because those products have to stay wet, like I told you before, for 10 to 15 minutes in order
Yeah.
to kill. Um, but your house smells nice.
Yeah.
Smells
Yeah.
pine solid fresh,
Yeah.
lemon fresh.
That's grandma's house.
Right, but then you think, oh, since my house smells like this, oh, it's disinfected and it's clean and I don't have to worry about, so I'll just tell you, you want to keep your floors clean, leave your shoes outside,
Yeah, weird.
because you bring in stuff like crazy from your shoes. I live at the beach, and man, there's sand in my house all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's like you got to look at the bottom of your shoes before you walk in the house. But anyway, so that just shows what's coming in, what you step on, take your shoes off. Do, do
So
you like
for
do like the Japanese do and leave your shoes outside?
so for taking the conversation from restaurant to transportation.
Yeah.
So again, talking about these smaller confined spaces. So what would the process be for sanitizing, say, an airplane or and then what would be the difference between sanitizing an airplane versus sanitizing other means of transportation, such as taxis, buses, whatever everyone calls the light rail or the metro or the train,
It
the
would be,
subway, what have you?
yep, it would be exactly the same way, um, because it's all done with electrostatic. The only thing, so the GlanHeath surface product has been what they call D6, so it's a Boeing certification.
Hmm.
So if it can be on an airplane, it can be anywhere because it's a non-corrosive product. So it will not hurt anything. Fine woods, carpets, drapes, all that stuff, it does not affect it in any way. But typically, the electrostatic in a subway, you're talking about drying in 4 minutes. Um, every maybe every shift, they go and spray the subway again because it's a very hands-on
Right.
approach when you're dealing with riders on the train. They're touching and holding, making sure they don't fall. So those areas need to be reapplied.
Mhm.
But typically the walls um, don't typically need to be applied, the windows, because people aren't usually touching that part.
Mhm.
But we want to make this clear that the reason we're using electrostatic and getting everywhere because the viruses that are out there and the germs float on dust, and those can hit the glass, those can hit the wall, those could hit the ceiling. It all depends on where they're being blown to.
Mhm.
So it's important to cover everything, because that one that hit the wall that died could have landed on you. Um, and like I told you before, nothing's 100%.
Right.
If you didn't use our product on your hands and you didn't have that invisible glove and you scratched your eye, um, 9 out of 10 times you're going to get whatever virus that is.
Right. So, what are your thoughts about restoring these industries and public trust? Because, I mean, where I live, people utilize public transportation. I live down the street from the light rail station. There are a lot of people that take the bus. Um, there. I don't feel maybe that people are as fearful as they were before, but I feel that maybe people that utilized a way of public transportation in the past may still feel very wary of utilizing that form now. And so how do we, I mean, I know we're making these videos to get the word out, but
Right.
how else can we educate people that, if we can use a product like this on a larger scale, then public trust can be fully restored.
So this is where we have to get into the municipalities and the local governments to be a part of this. and to get on the airways and get to their constituents and let them know that, hey, even when coronavirus gets tackled and it's no more, that's not saying that something else is right around the corner. We
Right.
don't know. We have no idea. But it's not good to put your guard down, because look at what the human coronavirus did. Now, just FYI, the human coronavirus is like at a level 2. The SARS is about around a level 4.
Mhm.
MERS virus is a level 16. So you can imagine if the coronavirus was a MERS, we'd be in trouble
Yeah.
in more than we already are. We were not prepared. So the best way to tackle is the defense. Let's be vigilant in how we clean, how we operate on a daily basis, and be more secure in our daily lives with just a couple simple things. It's very simple. It's not expensive. It's very simple to do, and it's the best way to minimize your exposure to what's out there in the world. But it's easy to apply. It's I would take the same thing as going into an airplane, as going into a rail car. The only thing I wouldn't do is spray inside the cockpit. I would use the wipes.
And I think too that people are itching to get back to some degree of what they're considering to be normalcy. So let's take an industry such as real estate and car dealerships. Okay. So those industries require people to show up, to have tours. And I know that people have kind of worked around this because we're managing, right? But a product like this would allow, again, that full trust, that full confidence to kind of operate in the way that they were before. Because
Right.
I know for myself, whenever I bought my house, if I couldn't see it, I wouldn't buy it. Or if I had to do a virtual tour,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, that doesn't work. Right. Um, you know, and then if I were to go out and purchase a new car, I want to test drive the car before I buy it. And
Yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
some of these industries that are very hard hit in this way that require their customer to physically show up and be there. Also, the cruise industry, right? um, and we've heard lots of stories of cruise ships, right? And so, if we can get those industries to understand that, you know, to give again full confidence that not only is it safe, and we talked before about it being, non-corrosive, non-abrasive, non-toxic,
Mhm.
because, you know, I think people are becoming more health conscious now, and people are waking up to the fact that, the way that we were living before is not exactly the most healthy, and the things that we're putting on our body and the things we're putting in our body. And so again, if you have a product that is non-toxic and can also eliminate viruses, or at least reduce viruses a significant amount, then we can have that normalcy again. And we don't have to, it's nice to get creative, right? A lot of awesome innovation has come out of this time, but at the same time, it's just like those kinds of industries need to have, that experience. You go to the dealership to have that experience, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so very simple. The dealership would purchase a gun or backpack and sanitize the car before the customer went in and when he gets out. It's the best way to tackle that problem. And then doing the showroom where people are walking around, touching the car is not going to hurt the car. It's not going to hurt anybody. And having our hand sanitizer available and not the alcohol is also a big plus. So it's kind of a multitude of different levels that the the car dealership would do. Same thing with real estate. People, the real estate agent would, we actually do this now with a real estate firm where they call us up and we'll go and spray their open house.
Mhm.
And we're good. They're good. They're comfortable. They got a nice little plaque that says this house has been sanitized and by the GlanHeath products. And I think that gives people a warm tummy feeling, especially if they actual promote it on their advertising, where they say, you know, we take pride and we, with your safety, we, you know, that's our number one goal is your safety and our clients' safety and our employees' safety. Same thing with the restaurants that we go into. It's all about doing the most you can do to minimize the exposure for what's going out, you know, what's affecting us now and in the future.
And so just in the last few minutes that we have left, I kind of want to switch gears over to public safety.
Okay.
So there's a wall dispenser just about everywhere you go. There has been, but of course now people are using those wall dispensers with increased frequency, and we're not necessarily conscious about how often we're using everywhere we go. You know, it's almost automatic. You walk into a place, let me, do some squirts, or sometimes they might have the wipes, right? But there's grave implications for those kinds of things. And so there was an article that came out about a woman in the UK that was in a um, substance abuse program. So she was in a hospital for substance abuse, and she ended up ingesting hand sanitizer from the wall dispenser, and she died. And so there are, again, on sanitizingsafety.com, all of these articles are there, are readily available for everyone. And you can go and you can read instance after instance after instance, again, where people are either intentionally or unintentionally ingesting because of the alcohol content. And I think people, again, we've been reporting how much alcohol is inside of just 1 ounce.
Scary.
Just 1 ounce. And so people might say, oh, well, I'm not using the whole entire 1 ounce at once. Well, maybe you're using half an ounce a day or a quarter of an ounce a day, depending on how often you're outside. And so, again, being mindful about how freely available alcohol-based sanitizers are currently in our society. And so
it's terrible.
Yes. And so what is GlanHeath immediate solution for this growing problem in society?
It's all about educating people. That's about the best, other than plastering GlanHeath on every TV station in the world, which be kind of hard to do. But it's basically doing what you're doing now. It's educating people on why they shouldn't use it. Why every time they touch that thing. So this is a really cool thing that you've got to get to your audience. Alcohol is the same thing as when you're disinfecting your floors. Remember, I said it's got to stay wet. So alcohol has to stay wet for 15 seconds. And I told you this the last time. If you don't pump that thing more than 3 or 4 times, it's not staying wet. And the issue is now you've just pumped in like 5 shots of like a 160 proof alcohol in your bloodstream. Now there's people say, well, I don't get drunk. Well, it's in your bloodstream. It's not going to get you drunk. But if you had a blood test, you would show alcohol in your bloodstream. The difference is that you ingest alcohol through your mouth. That's where it gets you your buzz or your drunk or whatever you call it. It's not when it goes into the bloodstream, because it doesn't affect you that way. So that's, I get that a lot. Well, I don't ever feel drunk, and I hit that thing 100 times a day. And I said, you know, you don't. And I explained why, but I can guarantee something. If you're hitting that thing 50 to 100 times a day, you're addicted to it, and you don't even know it. And that's sad. And the fact of the matter is, it's not helping your health. And especially if you have some sort of compromised health issue, no, you're just making yourself worse. So I can go on and on. I've got so many, the other thing is, especially if you're just determined on using an alcohol-based product, don't keep it in your car, because alcohol vapors. Even the what is it called? The gel, it vapors. Your car can get up to 120 degrees inside. It vapors. It could be a bomb. And I've seen it happen. There's articles all the time about how people had hand sanitizer in their car caught on fire because it got so hot and that vapor ignited. And it's a very clean fire. So if it got on your hands, you wouldn't even know about it until it caused the damage, because it burns so clear. You don't know what you're touching after you've got 180 proof alcohol in your hands. You could be a factory worker and you just washed your hands with 160, 180 proof alcohol, and you went and touched something that gave you a static electrical shock, and you just became on fire.
Yeah.
So it's very dangerous in so many ways.
For all of my people that are living in Arizona with me, you know.
Yeah, well, that can get hot.
Yes.
Arizona is
Whenever
definitely
you said
can
that,
get
I was
hot.
like, hotter.
Yeah, so
The car, you can bake cookies on the dashboard. It gets so hot here.
can you imagine what you can do on a sidewalk?
Right.
Fry up some eggs.
Yes. Yes, and people have.
Oh no, I've seen it.
All right. So just in the very last minute that we have left,
Yep.
so let's talk again. Let's review this juicy news for what's new for GlanHeath in 2021. So let's hear it one last time, because I'm very excited. I'm very excited of what is new and coming.
So we have an amazing hand sanitizer for kids that's coming out. We've got a new wound care for kids that's coming out. We've got a new wound care for adults that's actually going to have hyaluronic acid in it. That's going to be very nourishing to the skin as well. And a few other different applications or applicators that are going to be real fun and classy and all sorts of good stuff. We're not stopping. We're just going to do whatever we can to make it more comfortable for people to use our products, to where you don't have to pick out a big old bottle of hand sanitizer out of your purse. We're going to have something very dainty that you don't even know it's hand sanitizer. It's going to look like a lipstick, and it's going to be beautiful. So we're excited. We're excited for the future, and these products just keep coming back to the website, which is GlanHeath.com, and see all our new products. We've got a body spray that's unbelievable. So I use it when I fly, because I fly to San Diego from Texas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I just lay it on my clothes, and I wash my clothes in our laundry product, which also fights against everything that's out there. Great for kids. So we're excited. Oh, forgot. We've got a line of products for animals coming out.
Oh,
This is exciting, and these are all FDA products. So we've got a medicated shampoo, and we've got a wound care for just about every animal you can think of.
nice. Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm excited for the kids' products because, as you know, my kids love just the regular product. Just imagine if it was for kids, and they get cuts on their hands all the time. So we reach you through GlanHeath.com.
Yep, and
Is
they
that how
can,
we reach you?
yep, they can call the 800 number, which is 858-283-1135. Can't remember all these numbers, sorry.
It's okay.
Or they can call me personally if they want. I listen to everybody, I talk to everybody. And my number is 214-250-0102. Call me up, I can answer your questions. I can steer you in the right directions of what products would be best for you and your family.
And you do have product education as well, so you can even send product education if people are
Yes.
interested.
So we've got different stuff. The website is a wealth of information.
Yes. Yes.
And if you can't find it there, it probably doesn't exist.
Yeah, the website is a fantastic resource. I really urge people to visit the website, understand how this product works, especially if you're skeptical. Um, so if you're skeptical, do your homework, do your research. You know, there's nothing secretive here, not hiding anything. You know, my friends and family know that I'm always on a crusade for health and wellness and community and what's best for everyone. So, you know, they trust me that I'm, you know, doing what is right and what's best for the community based on the research that I have already done, because I'm a skeptical person myself, and I won't do anything until I do the research first, right? I need to see for myself, right? I'm from the show me state, so that's
Well, and
probably
you know
why.
what? And God bless you for what you do, because we need more people like you to spread the word and to let everybody know, um, first of all, of what not to do and what these products can do to you,
Mhm.
and what else is available for people to kind of transition to.
Right.
Because
We
this
need the alternative.
this is the future. This is
Yes.
the future.
So thank you so much, Greg, for joining us again. This has been the Science of Eco-Friendly Sanitizing for Public Safety. I am your host, Tasha Jackson with Naturally Inspired. Thank you again, Greg, for joining
Thanks for
us. I
having me.
appreciate your time
Thanks
with
for having us.
us
Appreciate
today.
it. Have a great day.
You too, thanks. Oh, she didn't turn the recording off. That's okay, I'll just cut this part out. Okay.